Perez. Now Reyes. Reyes shot! Oh, he's done it! The young Spaniard has arrived at Highbury with a breathtaking goal.
Hi guys, Fireman7 here, welcome to my channel, and in today's episode we will look at the top 10 players that you can buy in the 2003-04 database made by the mad scientists for Football Manager 2019. Now if you haven't checked out the database yet, I strongly suggest you do so. I will leave a link in the description, but if you check it out on Steam, it's one of the most popular downloads on there. Also follow the mad scientists, and if you want to see this database in action, then why not check out my 2003-04 database save with Arsenal, where I tried to replicate the Invincible season. Now, whilst I talk about the Invincible season, I did want to mention a few other things that happened in that year in the footballing world. It was the year that Jose Mourinho was born. Obviously, FC Porto won the Champions League out of nowhere. This is where Mourinho first came about. No one really knew about him too much. But then he jumped onto the scene after winning the Champions League with Porto. Valencia also won the UEFA Cup that year, beating Marseille 2-0 in the final. And as this is a video on the top players to buy in Football Manager 2019 on the 2003-04 database, I might as well mention who got World Player of the Year in 2004. Now, I do want to say that this player, I will be doing a video for the top young players to buy in this database as well. But this player that I'm going to mention now, the player that got the World Player of the Year in 2004, is not actually on this video or the top young players. And this player is Ronaldinho. So Ronaldinho starts the game at Barcelona. He's only valued at 21.5 million, so you could probably pick him up at a decent fee. But obviously Ronaldinho, being Brazilian, we all remember how he played. He was very skillful, very technical. He had a quality first touch. He was great at running with the ball, and obviously all that is replicated in his stats in the game. I just want to say that I have actually been fortunate enough as well to see Ronaldinho play live. I went to the Nou Camp, I believe it was in 2005, maybe 2006. I went with a few of the lads. You guys know who you are if you're watching. But that was a fantastic game. I believe he scored 2 goals in that game, including 1 free kick. And Ronaldinho was superb in that game. They won 5-1. But like I said, he's not in any of these videos, so I just want to put it out there. If you get the chance, sign him. But he is not in the top 10 list. Now, I'm going to start the list with Zinedine Zidane of Real Madrid. Obviously, everyone knows who he is. Probably most famously for his headbutt in the World Cup. But Zinedine Zidane, I thought I'd start with him because he was named 2003 World Player of the Year. So we might as well start with the best. But like I said, this is in no particular order. And we are going to start with Zinedine Zidane. Now, a lot of these players in the list, you probably, like I said, they're not going to be able to buy all of them at the same time. They are very, very expensive players, but these are the top players that you can buy in the game. If you do have the chance to buy them, then do so. I know he's 31 years old, but look at these stats. Dribbling, passing, technique, vision, flair, all at 20. And a lot of his other stats are very high as well. So this is the first player that you should be signing. So the next player I'm going to talk about is Zinedine Zidane's Real Madrid teammate, and that is Brazilian left-back Roberto Carlos. Now this guy, you probably remember him more for his fantastic free kick that he scored for Brazil. But I wanted to give you a bit more information on this man. His full name is actually Roberto Carlos da Silva Roca. He's obviously a Brazilian footballer where he started playing in 1992. He's played in 3 World Cups. He's won the World Cup once. He holds the second record. He's got the second most assists for his national side. And for Real Madrid, where he joined in 1996, he played 584 games, scored 71 goals, and he won 4 La Liga titles and 3 Champions League titles as well. I want to have a quick look into his early years as a footballer. And as you can see from here, he started in 1993 in Palmeiras. But if you remember what I said, he started playing for Brazil in 1992. But where was he in 1992? In 1992, he was actually at Atletico Mineiro, where he signed from a local team in Sao Paulo. He was only 19 at that point. After he left Palmeiras, he joined Inter Milan. And one thing I did not know about this is when he joined Inter Milan, this is when Roy Hodgson was manager there. And apparently Roy Hodgson wanted to play Roberto Carlos as a left winger. But Roberto Carlos was adamant he was going to be a left back. Hence why he left the club and joined Real Madrid, because they said they would play him in that position. And the rest is history. So the next player we're going to look at is Roberto Carlos' Real Madrid teammate. And that is Fat Ronaldo. Now, Fat Ronaldo, his full name is Ronaldo Luis Nazário de Lima. Striker that everybody knows. He had killer pace. He could run with the ball. He could really finish. And that is seen by his return of goals. Although I did actually think he scored more goals for Brazil than that. But 45 and 79 is still a good return. And if we have a look at his history, he started off in Brazil and then moved over to PSV in 1994. Now, this era is something that really intrigues me. And he actually moved over to PSV after going to the World Cup, much like a young Theo Walcott at the age of 17, where he didn't play a game, but they saw something in him and made the move for him. Only 3.9 million they paid, but boy did that pay off. First season he scored 30 and 32. The next season he scored 12 and 13, which earned him a move to Barcelona. Now, what's interesting to see is in 93, before he went to the World Cup, so he must have been about 16 at this point, in his year at Cruzeiro in the first division, he scored 12 goals in 14 games. The next season he scored 1 in 1. And obviously that was enough for the scouts at PSV to then sign him. And like I said, they didn't look back after that. Now, one game that really did stand out for PSV was in the UEFA Cup. He scored a hat-trick against Bayer Leverkusen. And after that game, Germany World Cup winner Rudi Völler stated in a post-match press conference, "Never in my life have I ever seen an 18-year-old play in this way." Now, obviously he moved to Barcelona. He's well renowned for playing at Inter Milan, but looking at that, his record was not as good as it was before that, which again is surprising, but he still had a brilliant record. And in the league games, he scored 161 goals in 196. But this is just in league games. If you look over the whole career in any competition, he actually played 343 games over the 16 years that he was playing football, and he scored 247 goals. So a fantastic return there. Although I would have thought he would have played more games than that, so he might have been quite injury prone. But obviously, as you can see from here, from Inter Milan, he'd done very well there. But again, these seasons, he didn't really play much, which again says to me that he was potentially an injury-prone player, which we cannot see in the stats. There, we potentially scout him, he might be injury-prone, but Fat Ronaldo is a born goal-scorer. So if you get the chance to sign him, do so. But again, he's going to cost you a lot of money. Now, we're going to move away from Real Madrid for a minute and look at our next player, who was actually voted Ballon d'Or for 2004, and that is Andriy Shevchenko, starting the game at AC Milan, worth £40 million. Again, like I said, for all of these players, it's going to cost a lot of money to pull them away from the clubs they're currently at. But Andriy Shevchenko, who is renowned for playing for obviously Dynamo Kiev, Chelsea, Milan, Ukraine. He's ranked 5th top goal scorer in all European competitions with 67 goals. So he was a born goal scorer. Unfortunately, when he moved to Chelsea, he couldn't really replicate that. But we will have a look at his history to see how he done. And he played a long time at Dynamo Kiev. He started in 1992. Didn't really play for the first couple of seasons. First season didn't really do too much in 94. But after that was where he really shone. 16 goals in 31 games. And then the last 2 years, 18 and 28, 19 and 23. Moved to Milan, done superb there. In a league at this point that was very well renowned for being defensive. He was scoring the goals. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for him at Chelsea. But Andriy Shevchenko is a quality player that if you want to go and buy him, I suggest you do so. Now we're going to stay in Italy for our next player that we're going to look at, and that player is Roma attacking midfielder Francesco Totti. Now I always used to sign him on the game. Totti was a quality player. Obviously, from here you can see his stats. He's got high crossing, dribbling, passing, technique, determination, leadership. He's a very, very good midfielder. Well known for scoring from long distances. And well loved in Italian football. Now, he wasn't a big goal scorer for Italy. He got 6 goals in 36 games. But again, I just want to go into a few facts about Francesco Totti. Now, Totti is regarded as one of the most talented Italian players of all time, and by some, they say that this is Italy's greatest ever player. He played as a classic number 10, but he could play in the centre midfielder. He could play as a deep line forward. So he was very, very flexible. He was a good goal scorer. We'll have a look at his history for Real Madrid. And as you can see, for a midfielder, he did score a lot of goals. I just want to read some testimonials about this man as well. So from Lionel Messi, these comments are after the 50th anniversary of Juan Gamper Trophy between Barcelona and Roma. He's basically said, a great player, what a phenomenon. Michel Platini, obviously former UEFA president, said Totti is an artist of football, a true number 10. And Carlo Ancelotti, former Italian midfielder, 3-time Champions League winning football manager. Totti is immortal and he is a symbol of our sport. I only regret not having worked with him. So Totti was, like I said, he was loved by many. He had many nicknames as well. He is often referred to as El Bimbo d'Oro, which means the golden boy. L'Ottavo Re di Roma, which basically means the 8th king of Rome. El Pepone, the big baby. I don't know where that one comes from. Il Capitano, the captain. And Il Gladiator, obviously meaning the gladiator by Italian sport. So this guy is a very, very beastly midfielder. Obviously his strength 15 there. He's not massively tall, 5'11", but he's a born leader. As you can see from his 20 leadership there. Definitely a player that you should look at signing. He can play on the wings as well. Like I said, he could play as a striker, deep line forward, false 9. He can do all of that. Obviously we can't see that on there. Now we're going to go back over to Spain, but to the blue side of Spain, and that's in Barcelona. And this player, who I actually have tried to sign on my 2003-04 database save with Arsenal, and that's Carlos Puyol. Now, what's interesting to say is Puyol made his name for himself being a centre-back. However, my scout reports have come back and said that he wouldn't be a quality centre-back. Not sure why. He's got good heading, good marking, good tackling, strength, stamina, pace, all of that. But it basically says that he should be a right-back. Now, I don't ever remember, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember Puyol playing as a right-back. However, that's what the game says. I prefer him at centre-back, but if you want to sign him as a right-back, sign him as a right-back. If you want to sign him as a centre-back, sign him as a centre-back. But it does suggest that he's not his strongest when he's playing at centre-back. But I do want to tell you a story about this man. Now, I'm going to tell you after we have a brief look at his history. Obviously, he's been at Barcelona all his life. A true club legend. And obviously, when I mentioned earlier that I went to watch Barcelona with a few of my mates, this story is going to crack you up. So, basically, we all dressed up like Puyol. We all got big wigs. We all got these white t-shirts that said Barcelona, number 5, Puyol on the back. But then we each were assigned a letter so we could stand up and obviously chant at the Nou Camp about Puyol. So obviously my friend started with the letter P. I was the letter U. And then obviously we went all the way up Puyol number 5. And we were basically decided, oh, we're going to do this chant. We're going to do this chant. So we were sitting in the crowd. It got to, I can't even remember what minute, so I'm not going to pretend I knew what minute it was. But we'll say the 40th minute. It got to the 40th minute. And at that point, I turned to my mate Mark. Mark, you know who you are. Hang yourself in shame here. So I said, Mark, you start the chant, because obviously he's the letter P. He's the first one, so he needs to start the chant. So I said, Mark, you need to stand up and shout, give me a P. Then I'll get up, say, give me a U, and then obviously we'll go on like that, and then we'll sing Puyol, Puyol after that. So what we done is, I said, Mark, right, in a minute, you stand up. So with that, we're all sitting down, told all the guys, right, it's happening. We're going to do the chant. We're going to do the chant. Everyone's excited. We're going to do the chant. So Mark gets up. arms aloft in the air, screams out loud, "Give me a P!" To which point I looked at him and laughed. So, yeah, he was just, "Oh, you bastard, you bastard." We just carried on, sat down, laughing at him because he was just stood up on his own, shouting, "Give me a P," expecting us to stand up after him. And obviously he sat down, "You bastard, you bastard." We said to him, "Oh, it's all right, Mark. We were just playing a joke on you. We're going to do it properly this time." So he was like, "Okay, we're going to do it. We're going to do it." So for a second time, Mark stood up, arms aloft, as loud as could be. "Give me a P!" Again, I looked at him. We all looked at him and laughed. We didn't get up and do that chant. It was just hilarious. We did it afterwards, I think. I can't remember now. It was a long time ago. But I just remember that scene where we were just shouting, "Give me a P," and he was just he was just standing there like a wally, which was absolutely hilarious. But yeah, guys, if you're watching, love that holiday. We need to do it again. But that's Carlos Puyol. I'm not going to go into too much detail about him. Obviously, like I said, says he's a right back on here. I prefer him as a centre back. You probably get him for about 60 million. To be fair, I did want to sign him, but obviously when it said he was only a right back and wouldn't be decent at centre back, I decided to drop out of that deal. Now the next player we're going to look at, we're going to travel all the way to Juventus, and this man should be one of the first names that probably pops up when you say the 2003-04 era, and that is Pavel Nedvěd. Now this guy was a quality player, played for the Czech Republic. He's probably fairly achievable in signing, to be fair. Valued at 50 million, you could probably get him for about 70. But this guy was an exceptional player. As you can see from his determination, flair, natural fitness, all his hats are sty. All his stats are high, to be fair. Very good player. As you can see from the positions chart, he can play anywhere, but he's mostly known for playing on the left wing. Again, a player that I did look at, but I ended up going for a regen. But Pavel Nedvěd was a quality player. And we're going to have a look at his history now. Obviously, he started all the way in the Czech Republic. Played for a few teams there. The latter being Sparta Prague. Never been a top goal scorer, but towards the end of his career, he was scoring more goals than he was. Well, not more than he was playing, but he had a good return. He was getting literally like 1 in 4, so 1 in 5. So he was doing pretty well overall. Obviously, Lazio decided to take the gamble. 3.5 million they paid Sparta Prague, and he didn't look back. He played superbly well for them before joining in 2001 Juventus for 25.5 million. But this player very good. We'll quickly have a look at his information. His personality as a leader, he's described as an elite attacking midfielder. Now remember, his favoured position is on the left, but he can play in the centre if needed. But this player is very good. He's very fluent in different languages as well. Slovak, Italian, Czech, basic English. So yeah, he was a very good player. Very good player. Media at handing style and flappable, so he's very good in front of the cameras. And this man has also been described as one of the best footballers of his generation. One little fact for you guys as well is that Pavel Nedvěd with Lazio won the last ever Cup Winners' Cup. And he also won the Champions League in 2003 with Juventus. So obviously again, teams to look at in the 2003-04 database. If you start off with Juventus, then obviously they've just won the Champions League. They should have a lot of money, and you've got Pavel Nedvěd in the side as well. He also won the Ballon d'Or in 2003. He was the second Czech player to receive this honour and the first since the breakup of Czechoslovakia. Unfortunately, he retired in the 2008-09 season after a 19-year professional career where he played 501 league games at club level, scoring 110 goals. The next player now that we're going to look at, going back to Real Madrid. So Real Madrid have got quite a hell of a side in this era, and that is Spanish striker Raúl. He's got finishing of 20, very good player. I actually nearly did sign him on my 2003-04 database save with Arsenal, but decided to go with someone a bit younger and not as expensive as well, because obviously this guy is going to cost you a hefty chunk of money. But obviously, compared to his teammate Ronaldo, he's not as prolific. He scored 171 in 325 games. He plays more games. He doesn't get injured as much, but he roughly scores 1 in 2, which is still a very good record. But this guy, as you can see again from here, he grew up at Real Madrid. He only played for Real Madrid in his career. So this guy is a Real Madrid legend. Looking at Liga, Raúl is actually the 5th highest goal scorer in the history of the competition with 228 games. 228 goals, sorry. He is also the highest Spanish scorer in European leagues with 256 goals. Obviously scoring 228 in La Liga and 28 goals in the Bundesliga. When did he play in the Bundesliga? Apparently he played for Schalke, but it's not on the history here. Something to speak about. Well, not Football Manager, but Mad Scientist, you missed that one out. He apparently played for Schalke. He spent 16 years playing for Real Madrid. He's their all-time top goal scorer with 323 goals. He's the most capped player in the history of the club with 741 appearances. Does that one match up? Well, obviously, this is league. This is total. And he won 6 La Liga titles, 3 Champions League titles, scoring in 2 of the finals. 4 Supercopa de España titles, 1 UEFA Cup, 2 Intercontinental Cups. And he was also appointed captain of the club in 2003 until he left the club. It's also worth noting that he did end his career, like many seem to be doing at the moment, in America for the New York Cosmos. So that was one player definitely worth signing. But another player that you really should sign, who I always used to sign on the game, going back to Italy, is Inter Milan striker Christian Vieri. He's on the older side of his career, 29 years old. Again, worth a lot of money, but his finishing is superb. 20 for finishing. He's got 18 heading, 17 long shots, 20 determination, 20 leadership. He's got good pace, 19 strength, 17 jumping reach. This man is an absolute beast. But just so I could back up why you should sign him, this guy was very prolific. And he's played for a lot of clubs as well. He did start in Italy, played at Pisa as well, Ravenna, Venezia, Atalanta. Did also go to Juventus as well, but never really shone until he moved over to Atletico Madrid, where he scored 24 goals in 24 league games. He then moved back to Italy for Lazio, scoring 12 in 22, and then he moved over to Inter Milan, where he stayed for the rest of his career. And to be fair, towards the end of his career, but 2001 onwards, was when he was more prolific than he ever was, apart from that stint in Atletico Madrid. So this guy is a killer striker. He's probably very similar to Ronaldo in the game. Obviously, Ronaldo's a bit younger. Ronaldo's a bit faster as well, but I'll say if you play a lot of crosses into the box, want someone that's going to be dominating in the air, Christian Vieri is your man. He's also been named in the FIFA 100, which is a list of the 125 greatest living footballers selected by Pelé. He's like I said, he's a prolific goal scorer. He's regarded as one of the best strikers in Europe at that time, which led to him becoming the world's most expensive player in 1999 when he joined Inter Milan from Lazio for 32 million. Or if you go in euros, that would have been 43 million euros. So a hefty, chunky expenditure at that point in time as well. Remember, that's not nowadays. International level, he's very good as well. He scored 23 goals in 49 appearances for Italy. He's their joint 9th highest goal scorer for the national side, alongside Francesco Graziani. He's also Italy's highest ever goal scorer in the FIFA World Cup, alongside Baggio and Rossi, with a combined 9 goals from 9 matches at the 1998 and 2002 World Cups. Now, the last player we're going to look at is someone that I always signed, and that is Alessandro Del Piero at Juventus. And this guy is quality. He's not the fastest player, but he's very skillful. He's very technical. He's a quality leader. He can play in many positions. He normally plays up front, but he can also play as a striker. Del Piero is also a specialist at free kicks, as you can see from his stat of 18 full free kick taken in his technique of 19. He scored a lot of goals from free kick. He's currently the second highest all-time Italian top scorer in all competitions with 346 goals behind Silvio Puyol, who's got 390. Another stat for you is also the joint 9th highest scorer in the Serie A history with 188 goals. And another good, nice little fact for you guys to know about, which shows off his talent, is the fact that Del Piero has scored in every competition in which he has participated. Again, this man was named in the FIFA 100, selected by Pele, and in that same year as well, he was also voted into the UEFA Golden Jubilee poll, which is a list of the 50 best European players of the past 50 years. For Italy, he scored 27 goals in 91 appearances, and then after he left Juventus, he then went on to Australia and India before he retired. So another nice little fact for you is the fact that because he's scored so many goals, he's very technical, he's actually had a type of goal named after him, and that is basically called a Del Piero zone by the Italian media. Or in Italian it's called Gol alla Del Piero. And basically this type of goal is when you're running down the left hand wing, you cut inside and you curl a lob into the top far corner of the goal from outside the area. And he has scored several of these goals throughout his career, hence why he has had that goal named after him. Now, a wise man once said about Del Piero, well, not a wise man, Diego Maradona. He basically said, Del Piero, is different to Zinedine Zidane. He likes to play, he feels it in his soul. Between him and the Frenchman, I choose him. So, if you wanted to choose between number 1 in this list and number 10 in this list, again, like I said, there's no particular order, then Diego Maradona might sway your decision. But that is the end of the video, guys. I just want to say a massive thank you for watching. And if you have liked this video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you soon. Cheers, bye.